Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Dugout Football channel. It is the match preview of Manchester United against Liverpool. Oh my goodness me. Yes, we need to get revenge. We need to get revenge, everybody. We do need to get revenge. I hope everyone is enjoying watching this as well. If you do like what you see, please do remember to hit that like button. Do remember to hit that subscribe button as well. And I've been joined by fabulous guys. It's great to get him back on the channel because I was obviously on the Copite a couple of weeks ago. It's Mr. Mick Moran from the Copite podcast. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all good. Nice one for having me back on. It's been a while. I think it's the same with you on our show. It's been long overdue, but yeah, nice to be back on. Thanks.
It's absolute pleasure, and obviously it's always great to speak to you about the Reds. I mean, we'll obviously get on to Manchester United, Liverpool very shortly, but Sheffield United, how big a win was that last night?
Can't be understated how big it was, to be honest. I think going into it, yeah, I said on one of our shows, like you're thinking because the bottom of the league and because the adrift of everyone else, basically in terms of like fighting for relegation, like they're pretty much scuppered in terms of any hope of getting out of there. Albeit they're going to need a monumental effort to get out of it. So in terms of like what you're facing, you're thinking, oh, we should be. You start thinking, oh, the goal difference, like City got +3, Arsenal got +2. You start like overthinking it and thinking, oh, we need at least +3 or +2, and we did get that in the end, but I guess I don't know if we went into it a bit wrong. I think some of the change. I mean, Gravenberch didn't have his best game. I don't think Szoboszlai had his best game. We were a bit too slow in moving the ball, I thought, in terms of Sheffield United. We made it a little bit too easy for them, I thought, in terms of the game. We had to get the goal, like the mad first goal and all that. But in terms of the win, yeah, it's to keep that 2-point gap at the top, especially after City and Arsenal drew. We needed to maintain that 2-point gap because I do have a feeling we're going to drop points at some stage. I'm hoping of course, hoping we don't. But I just feel like hopefully it's not Sunday. But there's other games like Everton coming up. There's Spurs. There's Villa. So there's quite a few games where you can't expect us to go. We need to be 100% and win every game. But I always think like there's going to be at least one, or hopefully just one, or hopefully none along the way. Where you need to maintain it and to keep the 2-point gap. I think that's why it's so crucial, because if something like that does happen and we do draw one, it's not the end of the world if hopefully other results go for us as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that first goal from Darwin Núñez. I mean, I was kind of racking my brain, Mick, and I was trying to like think of like how many times we've actually scored goals where we like close the keeper down. The only one I can really think of is obviously Mane, I think, against Man City at Wembley.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I thought of straight away.
It was. You've got to say, very well done on Darwin Núñez's part, because actually, if you look at the actual goal, the keeper's he's actually looking at the keeper, so he knows what he's doing. So he's alert. He knows where if the ball goes back to the goalkeeper, then he was obviously going to do it, and thankfully it came off.
Yeah, I think Klopp said after the game, didn't he? Like he instructs him to press as much as he can. I mean, he does that anyway, but I feel like it was just the keeper's had a bit of a nightmare there where he's took a little bit too long, and then he's not angled it around him like most keepers would do. He's just hit it straight at him, which is, yeah, it could have went anywhere. It could have went wide. It could have went out for a goal kick. It's happened a few times where that happens, and then we needed it. To be honest, it was the perfect goal for us at that stage, because it just looked like it was going to be one of them games where when it's so hard to play against a team who've got 10 behind the ball, but you need to find a way, and it just looked like we were forcing it a little bit. We'd get to the edge of the box, we'd be having pot shots, and like sometimes that works, but when you're not hitting the right zones with certain passes and you're not getting into the right areas, it make it quite difficult for yourself. So I think getting that goal in the way that we did at the time that we did, it gave us a little bit of a buffer anyway. But of course, as the longer the game goes on and it's only 1-0, you start to worry a little bit, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, and you've got to feel sorry for Connor Bradley. I think that's 2 own goals now. You think he scored this season? Obviously, the one in the Europa League, I think was that. I can't remember who that was against. And then obviously last night as well. It's just so unlucky. The ball just ricochets off him and goes through Kelleher's legs.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate one, really. It's a decent little bit of play by them, I guess, but the way it all happened, and it goes through Keller's legs. It's just like you're staring down the barrel then with half an hour to go, and you're like, "There's no way." Like I mentioned, like dropping points and all that, and that's don't want to be negative and all that, but you're thinking this isn't the game where you want to be dropping points, because this is a game
Yeah.
that if you want to go and be winning league titles, and of course we do, especially with like Jurgen's last season and all that, you don't want to be dropping points in a game like this. And yeah, at that point, I don't know. I think I was a little bit more worried than normal. I think normally if we concede one, I'm like, oh, it's fine. We've got enough time, and we're playing decent enough in the game to get back in it. At that stage, I was like, got enough quality and all that, but it just felt like whatever we were trying just wasn't working. And I was thinking we probably do need a beauty from, or a belter from the edge of the box, and that's what it turned out to be. So when it happens like that, it's boss. It's a amazing moment when someone scores a screamer and it ends up being such an important goal. But you don't want to have to rely on that too often, because
Yeah.
it can come back to bite you, unfortunately.
And we've been saying all season that Klopp's in-game management has been very, very good. I think there's only been maybe one or two games where you'd be like, yeah, maybe the in-game management's not been the best, but his changes last night completely changed the game, especially when I think it was Andy Robertson and Harvey Elliott both came on. They gave us a lot of energy, and it was a big, big gamble to obviously take Salah off, but it paid off.
It did. I think like factor in like the Ramadan stuff, and obviously Kanate and Salah had to go over and get some sustenance on the sideline at halfway mid half break and all that. It must be hard to play top level footy when you haven't got the right amount of energy as you normally would. So it must be really difficult. And obviously he wasn't happy about it, and he's not going to be. Of course, he's not. He wants to stay on the pitch and try and win us the game. But yeah, I think it's been a feature of our season, really. Like the in-game management has been boss. Like I'm not enjoying how we start games, because we could have been 1-0 down within first couple of minutes again, like we did against Brighton, which is something that we need to be stamping out, really, if we want to. Yeah, going into United's and Everton and Villa and all the other games, Spurs and all that, we need to be better from the get-go. But yeah, in terms of changing the game round and bringing on, just giving Andy Robbo a run out on that left side and having the freedom, because they were obviously quite narrow, so the flanks were quite free, linking up with Diaz and all that. I think it worked. It worked to Treating Jones coming on, who looked like he hadn't been away. I think it was boss to see. It really was. And I think that's what a feature of the season's been that, but it also is a testament to how strong the squad is as well, because we can bring on these players. Gakpo is getting loads of grief online, just crazily, and then he gets his goal as well, and he has a hand in getting us over the line with the third goal, and I think he's been good this season. He's just been out of position, and there's loads of other things going on in terms of Nunes taking his number 9 spot, and he's over on the left, he's in midfield, he's on the right, so he's having to adapt to wherever he's needed, really, which I think is a benefit for him, because he gets more game time, but it's also a negative because he hasn't got a set position. He's having to just fill in where required, and sometimes that can have an effect on your overall performance, which I think we've seen in some games. But yeah, in-game management's been spot on. Long may it continue. Hopefully we don't rely on it too much on Sunday. I hope we start strong and finish strong and have a strong middle as well. But yeah, it's testament to Klopp and Pep Linders how good they are at like spotting what needs to be done and carrying it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've all come to it because I don't think we've stopped talking about Alexis Mac Allister. I mean, Alexis Mac Allister, I think all his goals at Liverpool, I think bar one at Brentford, and obviously the Manchester City penalty. I think there was another penalty, I think in Lask, I think he scored. He doesn't score simple goals. They're always bangers, and this one was Gerrard-esque.
Ridiculous, mate. Honestly, proper. Just like I said, I was thinking it was going to need a screamer, and he provided just an absolute screamer. He's been ridiculous, and I don't know if you saw the stat about like he's the first player to have a goal involvement in 6 consecutive games. I think since Gerrard in like 2013, which is just says a lot about how good he is.
Yeah.
I know our system in those years when we've had Klopp's been relying on the fullbacks, and after the midfield hasn't had to be in, I suppose, have goal involvement as much, like the likes of Gini and Fabinho and Hendo and all that. But yeah, he's a ridiculous player. Like even the assist against Brighton, like to control the pass from Szoboszlai and to play it into Salah in the way that he did. He's a striker's dream, and especially when you've got that side of the game where you can provide and you can also pop up with the goal against Fulham was just ridiculous, and this one was, I don't know, I'd have to sit down and watch them both in terms of what one's the best, but this one was just it was a screamer, it really was, and it was just I'm proper happy for him as well because he comes across as such a humble fella and just like goes about his work. He gets thrown in the 8, he does well. He gets thrown in the 6, he does well. He's filling the gaps in midfield where we need him and just never complains. But he's also got all the quality that you need to win footy matches, and he's a joy. Like watching him in the flesh in the Brighton game was just a joy to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, and I actually think, barring you look at signings people they made. Obviously, I think Chelsea will say it was Cole Palmer. I think Arsenal will say Declan Rice. But for me, if we're talking about signings of the summer, Alexis Mac Allister has completely transformed our midfield.
He has. I mean, I'd throw Endo in there as well in terms of how good he's been, because 16 mil and coming into a different league. Of course, Mac Allister was at Brighton, so he already had that experience, but adapting to a bigger club and more demands, more games, higher tempo, all that stuff. He's been unbelievable, really. I think the 35 million, I think that can rise to apparently 55 or something like that, depending on what we win. So, I mean, I saw people like saying, "Oh, I feel bad on Brighton. Should we send them a bit more money because we've ripped them off and all that," which is quite funny. But yeah, he's just a joy to have. Honestly, I think he's surpassed, I guess, what most of us would have thought he'd be producing at this stage. I thought we were going to get like a tidy player who gets the ball, wins it, keeps us ticking over, but he does that, and I didn't realise how good he was in and around the box. And like I said, mentioned those passes for Salah and the goals he's been scoring. That's been, and I knew he was capable of it because I saw it for Brighton, but in terms of how he's translating that onto a bigger stage for us, I think it says a lot about his character, and the fact that he's only 25 as well is one of the most exciting things for me because he's still quite young. He's still got loads to learn as well, and hopefully, loads more years at Liverpool as well. But yeah, just if he carries on in the way that he has been, then it's not even a question. He's the signing of the season.
100%. And I was made up for Gagpo getting his goal because I know we all know that X is a bit of a cesspit when it comes to obviously social media and all this, and he's been getting a lot of stick, Cody Gagpo. But that goal yesterday, hopefully that will be the turning point, I think, for him.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. Like I said, I think he's a victim of his own versatility. But there's no doubt on the quality. Like the goal yesterday was quality. A lovely ball in by Robbo, and he's there, and he difficult one to take on the head and straight in the bottom corner. But and I love that like everyone rallies around him as well. Like Mac Allister after the game, like talking about him because they were doing an interview together, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm made up for this man because he puts in all the effort. He's a leader on the training pitch and all this nice stuff." And I think like when there's any criticism of any player, I think they all rally around each other, and I think that you can see that in like the interviews and stuff. But yeah, I don't think Gakpo will be. I think he'll be annoyed that he's not been playing as much, but he knows full well there's plenty of games coming up that he needs to be ready for. Like coming off even if he's coming off the bench, I think it's something that Harvey Elliott seems to have mastered. Like he can have an amazing 30 minutes, and then people will be like clamouring for him to start. But then I'm like, well, but he's boss coming off the bench. I think if Gakpo can learn that a little bit more, maybe, and start producing it from the bench, we might start seeing him start more games. But at the minute, the front three it's so hard to get into that front three because Salah, Núñez, Diaz, like they're all doing the right stuff at the minute. So it's hard to get in there, and that's why we've seen him in midfield sometimes. So I think it's been difficult for him, but yeah, I'm hoping that goal will give him a bit of confidence and yeah, if he fancies popping up on Sunday and getting a goal, then we'll be made up for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was Sheffield United. Now we move on to Manchester United because, well, we all know that obviously we were playing Sheffield United last night, and they obviously, we won by 3-1. obviously Chelsea were playing Manchester United, and I've got to say, this kind of just sums up United's season, Mick. They were 2-0 down, they were 3-2 up, and then in the most bizarre circumstance, they conceded a penalty in the 109th minute, and then they conceded in the 110th minute. It just goes to show that they've had a really rotten season.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I saw they were 2 down and then 3-2, and I was like, oh, they've got back in it. But yeah, to capitulate like that is a mad one, and I just think Eric Ten Hag. I don't know. He's a bit of a mad character because he always just comes out after the game going, "Oh yeah, we dominated, we did this," and you're like, you look at the stats, it's like, I know the stats aren't the be all and end all and all that, but like it's just like you didn't dominate. You know what I mean? You can see the 4 goals, and you might feel hard done by, but I think the way they got back in the game, like fair play to them. But at that stage, when you've got a few minutes left, game management is maybe something that's a bit underrated in terms of that's what you need to, especially if you were going for titles and stuff. You need to be good at managing the game, but especially if you want to be getting to the Champions League places and stuff, like they needed, like if they would have won that, like getting it closer to the top 4, like currently we're already the 11 points off top 4 with a game in hand, so they've still got an outside shout, like. But if they win last night, they get that down to 8. They've got the game in hand. They can, if they get a draw, hopefully not, then do you know what I mean? They can make up the points. But like to be still 11 points off with 8 to go for them, it's going to be a hard task. But I mean, I'm loving it, of course, because we want to see them. We want to see them suffer as much as they can, because we've had our moment in the dark when they were boss, and we had to suffer for many years in my youth. So it's good to see, but it's just mad because when you see them against like the likes of Brentford and they get battered and then they get beat by Chelsea, and you just know on Sunday, because of what that game is on Sunday, it's going to be a horrible game. It really is, because they're at the stage where 3 points would be amazing for them, but they're also thinking in the back of their minds, if we make them drop points, it also hampers them getting to 20 titles. So it's that thing that they're driven by an extra thing, and that's what makes it a little bit more tasty, but makes me worry a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I am extremely worried for this game. I've got to be honest, because obviously with the cup game, I think if we look back at the cup game, I think no player, I probably apart from obviously I think Kelleher, could probably go away from that and say that they played well. I don't think we played well at all. But Old Trafford is still a very, very difficult place to go to. But I just think coming into Sunday, I look at Manchester United and they picked up another couple of injuries as well. I think Rafa Varane, got injured. I think Johnny Evans came off as well. So looks potentially like to be Harry Maguire and Willie. I can't remember his name. Quimbala, I think the young centre back, as well. But we all know form goes out the window for this kind of game. That certainly was the case with the cup game, wasn't it?
It was. I think it was. Any time we go to Old Trafford, I know, like in recent history, like the 5-0 and all that was just amazing, and we've battered them at Anfield recently. In recent seasons, of course, not this season where we drew, and I always think of that game like that was such a missed opportunity to not go and beat them at Anfield in the form that they were in compared to the form we were in. But going there is just a different prospect. It is like going to like Goodison. It's just a horrible atmosphere. We don't play quite the same. They don't play quite the same. It's just you love it and hate it at the same time. I'm excited for it because the opportunity to get another 3 points and to beat them and make them further off top 4, because of course we don't want them to get top 4 as well. But I'm excited, but I'm also like, I just want it to be over as well. I think as soon as it starts, I'll be excited, but straight away I'm like, let's just get this game won, get out of there, and go home, get the 3 points, and crack on with the rest of the fixtures. But yeah, I think from their perspective, like I said, they'll be excited to get one over on us. So we need to have that experience, but also, and I think a good thing is, like you mentioned, that game was so recent. So we can use that as a little bit of a template to like do. But we did this well, we did this well, we did all these things not well. Like you said, there was quite a few people that didn't play well and a few poor performances in that game. So we can learn from that and take it into this game, knowing full well that it'll be a similar Man United in terms of personnel and style, but we can maybe change our style or whatever a little bit in terms of how good we are in terms of quality all over the pitch and make that count as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of in terms of sort of injury news, I know obviously we've got the sort of the long term sort of absence. I think Alisson, Trent are very, very close. Jota is very, very close. Funnily enough, Caoimhin Kelleher, this will be his 25th game of the season. That's one more than Alisson. Does it just goes to show that he has taken his chance really, really well in this team?
He has massively. I think it's safe to say we all had our worries as soon as we saw that Alisson news and hamstring, and he's going to be out for a while. And yet, there's no doubt Kelleher's got quality, but it was all about like whether he can do it over a sustained period, like in terms of having that rhythm and stuff. And he's gone above and beyond what I expected of him, to be honest. Like he's kept his in games. He's got that cool head. I think it must be hard, like being behind Alisson. Knowing you're coming for an FA Cup game or a League Cup game, but come Saturday 3:00, you're going to be on the bench again. It must be so difficult knowing that you're behind someone so good. But he's took it and grasped it with both hands, like, and in a way, it's like he's proved that to everyone in this league as well that he can do an amazing job. So I don't know. I don't want to see him leave because when like Alisson does pick up them injuries and he is out, so he is the perfect number 2. He really is. But I always think like he's probably wanting once Alisson comes back maybe next year to go somewhere else, and you can't really begrudge him that because he's too good to be a second keeper. Unfortunately, as good he is. But yeah, I've been made up with him. Honestly, I think he's kept us in games. I just love how calm he is, and I think he's been boss to see how well he's been doing.
Yeah, 100%. And we go into this game as well with obviously Kwanzaa and Kante. I've got to say, I thought Konate was extremely lucky not to be having a serious injury because we knew what obviously happened with Van Dijk back at Goodison. Same kind of challenge. I'm amazed VAR didn't actually look at it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mad one, weren't it? Because I think it's Osler, isn't it? He kind of falls over, but then there's no reason for him to like throw his 2 legs out in that like scissor action the way that he did. So I didn't really think of anything at the time when I was watching the match, but I think when you then get back and you see the replays and you're looking at it and you're like, that is a bit unnecessary. And it's it doesn't surprise me. VAR, like, you know what I think about it. Like it's just a mess really. With refs hiding behind other refs who don't want to change decisions and all this. But yeah, it should have been one that because he could have. It's always one of them. Like, does it have to be a serious injury? Like if you get stretched off, does the ref then go, yeah, it was a bad foul, like you deserve a red now? Like what does it take? Just because he didn't get injured doesn't mean it wasn't a bad challenge. The intent was there, and that's all. Like this new legislation they're bringing in, like the intent or dangerous play on all that crap that we won't get into. But I'm just really relieved that it wasn't an injury because imagine like we missed them in the FA Cup game against United. Kwanzaa had a good game, but I think having Konate in there gives us an extra weapon because you can have the high line a little bit higher, and you can gives Bradley or whoever plays on right back a little bit more security knowing Konate's there to mop up, and he's got that pace and power to knock anyone off the ball, especially like the likes of Rashford or Garnacho, whoever's going to be over there. So I think hopefully he's fit. But yeah, there should have been something should have happened with that. The more you see it as well, the worse it gets as well, I think.
Yeah. It was just incredible that no action was taken. But one thing that really annoyed me in the cup game was we didn't test Andre Onana near enough. I think we were trying to sort of score the perfect goal. We were trying to walk the ball. And I know obviously Mac Allister obviously scored, and obviously Harvey Elliott with the deflected strike, but it almost came to across my mind that we need to test Andre Onana more. Do you think Klopp will have gone into the players to when we obviously get to Old Trafford, and he'll say have a shot on goal, because we saw from obviously the Chelsea game, Gallagher has a shot, Onana completely messes up and then goes under him.
Yeah, I think it's something that you're always after factor in. I think yeah, I'm surprised we haven't done it more, to be honest. Like you said, Mac Allister scored that good goal, a little bit of a deflection on it. Elliott scored a decent goal. So yeah, I think it's a weapon that we've got, especially with the midfield we've got recently with Szoboszlai, and we know Mac Allister. If Endo's fit, then Mac Allister and Szoboszlai can get around the box. If you're in shooting range, hit it, because he's very, very dodgy. I know there's like stats floating around like, oh, the most saves and all that. It's like, all that says to me is that your defending isn't the best because you're allowing the shots, and they use it as a way to say that he's a good keeper. And I was like, you're entitled to your opinion, but for me, he's horrific. He's not a good keeper at all. So I think you need to be making those count, things like corners, like getting like Van Dijk's and Canate's underneath them, getting players in there to disrupt them. I think you need to do that, because I think we've seen when like Alisson's been injured in the past and we've got Adrian in goal, like teams have more shots from range, knowing full well that it's not Alisson anymore, it's Adrian. So I think it's something that you need to have in the back of your mind, and hopefully, like I said, when we get to Old Trafford, then we can sort the game plan out. Hopefully that'll be something that is factored in, because I don't think we've been shy this season about having shots, but I think it's like having it at the right time as well, like not just if you've missed a few, like just having like shots from 30, 40 yards. It has to be like edge of the box on the right person, in the right area. So I think hopefully that'll be something that we look at as well.
Absolutely, and as well, I know. Obviously, we know that Darwin Núñez did obviously have a mistake back at Old Trafford. However, he has now 30 goal involvements this season. Do you think he's really now sort of settled down as a Liverpool player?
I think so. 18 goals in it and 12 assists, which is mad, because he does miss a few chances, but in terms of what he provides, yeah, I wouldn't swap him for anyone. Honestly, I love the fella so much. He's such a
I do as well.
Even the celebration, like last night when Mac Allister scored, and he's in the cop, and he's like grabbing like one of the fans like faces and like screaming in the face, like just little things like that where you're like, I love that. But yeah, in terms of on the pitch, he's just never stops running. Like the goal he got was because of his energy and his pressing. He can produce moments of magic. We've seen that this season so far. He just causes chaos. I'd like him to. I think he can score more goals. I think that's a scary thing in terms of the opposition, that he's nowhere near the finished article. He's got loads of progression and improvement to do. But yeah, he's just I think he's finally hit a level now, especially because, like I mentioned, when Gakpo came in, and then he was like, Darwin was number 9 for a bit, and Núñez was having to settle for the bench option because Gakpo was so good in that false 9 role, dropping deep. And then Núñez is just at a level now where he's never getting dropped. If it's a big game, Darwin Núñez is starting, and that's it, because he's so crucial to us in terms of stretching teams, but he's got everything that you need to disrupt the opposition, but also to make stuff happen as well.
Absolutely. So, team lineups. How do you think we'll line up on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be that many changes from the Sheffield United game. Just going to have a little quick look now, just to remind myself. Yeah, so I think I was surprised Konate started last night, to be honest, but I think maybe that's to get him ready. I mean, if he got that bad injury, if that tackle made him injured, then we all would have been cursing, like playing him in that game. But thankfully, hopefully, he's fine. Yeah, I'm torn whether to, like, because we saw Gomez at right back in the cup game, and I understood it in terms of like a bit of experience. He's got pace and power and defensive ability. I'm torn whether we go Gomez over on the right and Robbo left back. I think Robbo comes back in from after this cameo because he gives us that width as well. I'm torn whether you go Bradley or Gomez. I think Klopp might go Gomez just for the experience and leave Bradley as a sub option. And then I've seen people talking about midfield. Obviously, if Endo's fit, hopefully he is, because he got left out of last night. Hopefully ready for Sunday. Endo to come in as the 6, and you've got a choice of Szoboszlai, Mac Allister and Jones in terms of the other two spots, I think. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think he might go Jones on the bench just because he's back from injury. I think we'll probably just see Szoboszlai, Endo, Mac Allister as like a tried and tested, and then you can bring on a Bradley for Gomez, you can bring on a Jones for Szoboszlai or whatever, and then the front three is the front three. I think it's good to have these like selection headaches because they're good problems to have. But like if you think about it, like if we've got the bench, like it's Bradley, Gakpo, Gravenberch, Jones, Elliott, like there's quite a few players there that can come on the field, like we saw it in the Sheffield United game, and have an impact as well.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you about Jones. We can't afford to rush him back. I think it's the safest thing. I'm glad that he started from the bench yesterday. I'm glad he obviously came on, made a very good impact as well. I was kind of like you. I was a bit torn between Szoboszlai and obviously Jones potentially start, but I think you'll start with Szoboszlai. I think Mac Allister, I think Endo will be back anyway. Yeah. Does he go Bradley or Gomez? That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously Kelleher in between the sticks, and then as you say, that the front three speaks for itself. But I think we're getting players slowly coming back at the right time. As I said earlier, Alisson will be back soon. Trent will be back soon. Jota. I mean, it's so important to have those players just coming back, and especially we'll have a very strong bench again.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're still where we are and we've not had Trent and Alisson for a long time, considering they're two of our to say they're vital is an understatement. Like they're so crucial to everything we do. Alisson's so key, and we know Trent can unlock any defence in world footy. So the fact that we've had Keller in there, we've had Bradley in there, we've had Quansah in there, like the fact that we're still 2 points clear at the top of the league still blows my mind, to be honest. The fact that we've managed to do that, and like I said, Jota, massive miss as well, because he turns those half chances into goals, and you need that, massively need that. And it's another reason why Gakpo hasn't been playing as much when Jota was fit, because it would be the front three, then Jota would come in, and Gakpo was kind of left to feed on scraps basically the last 5-10 minutes of games, because we had 4 players who were interchanging and doing really well. And obviously there's the Thiagos and Bacetiches and all that, and Matip's that we're missing as well, which I guess Matip's out for the season, I know, and then we've not had Thiago and Bacetic the whole season pretty much, which is crazy to think about, like in terms of not having those two, because they would have been very handy to have in some of the cup games and stuff in terms of having fresh legs. So yeah, I think if we can get them back soon, the likes of Trent, Alisson and Jota this month sometime, ready for the run-in, it's going to be key.
Absolutely. And, players coming back is so important. Right, I hate doing this, but predictions, what are you going for?
I've gone for 3-1, so I've got to stick with it. 3-1 to Liverpool. I never feel confident about us keeping the clean sheet anymore. I did for a little bit, but not anymore. When we seem to be conceding a few goals over the last couple of games, or we at least concede one, which I feel like we'll probably do again in this game, which they've got some decent players, to be fair. When you look at the table, I'm happy where they are, but they've got some like talented players who will turn up and who will try and affect us and like I said, try and disrupt us as much as they can in terms of title race and all that. So I think they'll probably get one, but I hope it's at the stage where we're already 3 up. I don't want to be going 1-0 down again. No going 1-0 down, because it's always climbing a mountain. But yeah, if they can, 3-1, I think. I mean, I'll be happy. I'll be happy with a 1-0. I don't think me heart or blood pressure will be happy with a 1-0, but as long as we get the win, I don't care how we do it, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't matter how well you play. It's all about the result at the end of the day. I went 2-1 the last time, but I think we could have some goals actually. I don't know if our hearts could take a 3-2. But that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go 3-2 the Reds. I think it's going to be one of those topsy-turvy games, and I just think our attacking prowess, I think we'll just have too much on the day. I actually expect a much more different game than the cup game as well.
Hopefully. we need
So
the points. We need the points. So
100%. It's just about winning. I think City have got Palace away and lunchtime, and then Arsenal I think are Brighton away. That's not an easy game. That has been a bit of a sticky place for Arsenal in the past. So we can only basically just focus on ourselves, Mick. I think that's the safest thing to say.
it is, and that's what I was saying before. Like having that 2-point gap is so massive. Like I mean, every time City or Arsenal play, I'm like, I'll put it on, I'll half watch it, but I know full well, like if they go 1-0 down, they're going to come back. And I suppose it's the same like last night when City and Arsenal probably watched us last night and they saw 1-1 half an hour to go. They probably got the hopes up and then we dashed them. So it's the same exact thing for them. Like yeah, if Brighton or Palace want to do us a favour, then be me guest, like, because it's if we can get a win and they drop points and we can be like, I don't know, 5 or 4 clear or whatever going into last 7 games, it'd be amazing.
That would be boss. That'd be absolutely boss. Mick, it's been an absolute delight to get you back on the channel. It has been. It felt like an age since I was back. Literally back on the Copite. So to have you back on here is fantastic. And yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the Copite podcast, well, I don't know what you're missing because it is one of the best pods that I've listened to. You and Christian, you've got a really good. You feed off each other very well.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's all right, isn't he? He's a sound fella. He lived in England for a bit, in Stoke, and then he's moved back to Sweden. But yeah, he's just got talking on Twitter, and then just kept in touch, and then went from there really. But yeah, he's a good fella, and he's got a similar view to us, I guess, in terms of like not too negative when it's required or when it's needed, but like he tends to be glass half full, which is similar to me. And I think you surround yourself with like-minded people, so that's what I try to do, and try and limit the opposite, and try and not have too many glass half empty people around me. So yeah, it's a good little dynamic, and it's just easy going. Like we don't it's not too serious. We do pods when we can. It's not like strict schedule or whatever. We just do it when we can. But yeah, it's always a laugh, and it's always good when we get the likes of you on, Doug, just to break her up a little bit when Christian's ranting about Man City or whatever, and you can be there. You can be there to cheer him up.
No, it's a pleasure to get you back on, and we'll definitely need to try and get Christian at some point as well. But yeah, guys, I will leave the Copite podcast. I know they don't do as much YouTube now, but it's obviously audio only. I will leave obviously their links in the chat in the comments, and you can obviously go and have a look at them as well. But it's a big game. Liverpool need the 3 points. Man United will do everything that they can to try and beat us. But the main thing is focus on ourselves. And if we get the win, it'll be boss. And getting a win against them at Old Trafford, there'll be no such sweeter feeling. So if you have enjoyed, please do remember to hit that like button. Please do remember to hit that subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, revenge will be on. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care.